Welcome back to the channel, plant lovers. Today we're diving into an exciting task, cutting back and organizing plants in the high tunnel, plus adding new lighting in the greenhouse. If you've been wondering how to keep your indoor garden thriving during the colder months or how to optimize your space for better growth, this video is for you. Let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about the high tunnel. For those who might be new to the term, a high tunnel is essentially an unheated greenhouse that helps extend the growing season, protect plants from harsh weather, and provide an environment for growth even in winter. If you've been growing plants in a high tunnel for a while, you might notice that over time, things can get a little cramped. Your plants can start to grow in unexpected directions, and it's important to periodically cut them back to maintain healthy growth and good airflow. Now, cutting back plants is not as simple as just hacking away at them. It's a process that requires some planning. First, you want to assess which plants need cutting back. Typically, any plant that is growing too tall or spreading out too much needs attention. We're aiming for a more organized and controlled growth environment here, so we want to ensure that no plant is crowding its neighbor. Start with your larger plants, tomatoes, peppers, and anything that's been growing vigorously. These plants often benefit from a good trim to prevent them from getting too leggy. For tomatoes, cut back any suckers that are sprouting in the joints between the main stem and branches. This will encourage the plant to focus more energy on producing fruit rather than growing excessively tall. Peppers may also need a bit of thinning, especially if they've been growing side shoots that are stealing nutrients from the main plant. While you're trimming, be sure to use clean, sharp pruning shears. This ensures that you're making clean cuts that will heal quickly and prevent any potential disease transmission. Clean your shears between plants to avoid spreading pests or diseases from one plant to another. Once you've trimmed back your plants, be sure to remove any dead leaves, stems, or debris from the ground. This helps prevent the buildup of mold and attracts fewer pests to your plants. Next, let's move on to organizing your plants. The high tunnel can quickly become a jungle if you're not careful, so keeping everything neatly arranged is key to maximizing space and encouraging healthy growth. A good way to organize your plants is by grouping them according to their needs. Some plants require more sunlight, while others prefer a little more shade. If you haven't already, consider labeling your plants with markers that indicate their specific requirements. Once you've grouped them by sunlight needs, it's time to start thinking about vertical space. Vertical gardening is a game changer, especially in a high tunnel where floor space can be limited. Install trellises or other support structures along the walls or in the middle of the space. Vining plants like cucumbers, peas, and beans will thrive on vertical trellises, and this keeps them off the ground, improving airflow and reducing the chance of soil-borne diseases. While we're on the topic of organizing, don't forget about airflow. It's easy to let plants grow in a way that they block ventilation, but airflow is essential for preventing mold, mildew, and pest issues. If you're using rows of plants, make sure there's a path between them wide enough to allow air to circulate freely. You may even want to consider rotating your plants throughout the season to ensure that they're getting proper ventilation on all sides. With the plants trimmed back and organized, it's now time to focus on lighting. Proper lighting is crucial in a high tunnel or greenhouse, especially if you're growing plants that require a lot of light to thrive. If your current lighting system isn't cutting it, this is the perfect opportunity to upgrade. Adding new lights will not only help your plants grow better, but it will also allow you to control the length of their growing seasons more precisely. When choosing lights for your greenhouse, there are a few things to consider. First, think about the type of plants you're growing. If you're growing vegetables or herbs, you'll need a full spectrum light that mimics the sun's natural light. This is especially important in the winter months when daylight hours are shorter. LED grow lights are a great option, as they're energy efficient and provide the right kind of light for plant growth. When installing your lights, Aim to place them close to your plants, but not so close that they risk burning the leaves. A good rule of thumb is to place the lights about 12 to 18 inches above the canopy of your plants. If your plants are particularly tall, you might need to adjust the height of the lights over time to ensure they're getting enough light as they grow. Don't forget to consider the placement of your lights as well. Position your grow lights so that they cover as much of the growing area as possible. If you have multiple rows of plants, stagger the lights to ensure an even distribution of light. Depending on the size of your high tunnel, you may need more than one light, especially if you're working with a large space. While setting up the lighting, also take time to check your current light timers or controllers. Consistency is key when it comes to plant growth, so set your lights to come on for about 12-16 hours a day, depending on the specific needs of your plants. This mimics the natural cycle of the sun, ensuring that your plants get the light they need without stressing them out. Once the lighting is set up, it's important to monitor your plants regularly to ensure they're adapting well to the new light. If you notice any plants starting to stretch toward the light or showing signs of too much light, like leaf burn, you may need to adjust the height or intensity of the lights. As you work through the process of cutting back, organizing, and adding new lights to your high tunnel, don't forget to take a step back and assess the overall health of your plants. Are they looking strong and vibrant, or do you notice any signs of disease or pests? Keeping a close eye on your plants and making adjustments as needed will ensure that you have a thriving garden throughout the year. Now, if you're new to this process, it can feel overwhelming at first. But trust me, once you've completed your first round of cuts and reorganization, you'll feel a sense of satisfaction. Not only will your plants have more room to grow, but you'll also notice an improvement in their overall health. Healthy plants are more resilient to pests and diseases, and they produce better yields. Another tip is to keep track of what works and what doesn't. Every growing season presents new challenges, and by keeping a gardening journal, you can make note of which plant arrangements, pruning techniques, and lighting setups produce the best results. This will make future tasks easier and more efficient. One last thing to keep in mind is the importance of maintaining your high tunnel or greenhouse. A well-maintained growing environment goes hand in hand with healthy plants. Check your structures regularly for any damage, ensure that vents are working properly, and keep the interior clean and organized. This will make your gardening experience more enjoyable and productive. As we wrap up, I hope you feel inspired and confident to tackle the task of cutting back, organizing, and upgrading your lighting system. It's a process that takes time, but the results are well worth the effort. Your plants will thank you with stronger growth, healthier foliage, and bountiful harvests. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gardening tips and tricks. Until next time, happy gardening, and enjoy your beautifully organized and well-lit high tunnel.